Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something that, well, seems really simple at first glance. Kindness.
Right, but there's so much depth there.
Exactly. We're exploring the nature of kindness and maybe more importantly, why timing seems to be, well, almost everything.
It's crucial.
And we've got quite a mix of sources for this deep dive. We're talking ancient philosophers, biblical verses, modern coaches, even a pretty famous swindler, actually.
Yeah, it's a fascinating range, and they all seem to touch on this idea of living a good, connected life.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today really is to unpack that, to see how kindness isn't just, a nice thing to do sometimes.
More than a gesture.
Way more. It's fundamental to how we connect as humans.
Yeah.
And it needs, it seems to need two things at once. That spontaneous, right now action, and this deeper personal work. Cultivating it within ourselves.
So it's that balance we're exploring, acting fast, but also building the character so you can act authentically.
Precisely. That dance between the moment and the long-term cultivation. It's tricky.
Okay, so let's dive right in with maybe the core idea. It's from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, "You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late." That feels pretty foundational. What's your first reaction?
Oh, absolutely. It just hits home, doesn't it? And what's amazing is how much philosophy is packed into that one sentence.
Right.
Emerson's basically saying that when it comes to connecting with people, being virtuous, timing is, it's paramount. You can't delay.
Because the moment passes.
Exactly. That chance to really help, to offer support, to share something, it's often fleeting. Think about it. You see someone struggling, a word of encouragement right then might mean everything.
Yeah.
A helping hand just as they stumble. Or even just sharing a happy moment before it's gone. If you hesitate, if you think, I'll do it later, or wait for some perfect moment.
Which never comes.
Right. The opportunity for that specific act, that timely kindness, just evaporates. Gone. The need might still be there later, but the window for that connection closed.
That makes perfect sense. And there's this fantastic analogy in our sources from Tony Dungy, the football coach, talking about baseball, of all things.
Oh, yeah, the cutoff play.
Exactly. He paints his picture. Ninth inning, tying run on second, a sharp single to left. The outfielder scrambles.
But he's not alone. Instantly, the infielders are moving, reacting.
Right. The catcher sees the runner heading home, yells, "Cut two," tells the third baseman, "Get the throw, redirect it to second."
Where the second baseman is covering to nail the batter, trying to stretch the hit. It's like a ballet almost.
It is. And Dungy's point is so powerful. No one could have done it by himself. Not one player, not two. It took all nine.
All nine working together in that split second.
Left fielder, shortstop, pitcher, everyone moving in sync.
And that ties straight back to Emerson, doesn't it? Just like that play has to happen right then, kindness often needs to happen right when it's needed. If the throw's late or the cutoff isn't there.
Game over. Or, run scores. Opportunity missed.
Exactly. And it even echoes that verse from Ecclesiastes, A person standing alone can be attacked, but two can stand back to back. Three are even better.
A triple braided cord.
Yeah. Each timely act of kindness isn't just helping one person. It's strengthening the whole community, that whole cord. We're all part of that interconnected play, defending against isolation and difficulty.
Okay, so that urgency is clear. But then comes the tricky part, almost a paradox, right? If kindness needs to be so timely, so spontaneous, how do we get ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not always easy. Sometimes you want to be kind, but you hesitate or you don't feel strong enough, prepared enough.
Right. And this is where it gets really interesting, like you said. The sources suggest that even though kindness feels urgent, it also needs preparation. Deep preparation.
Which feels like the opposite of spontaneous.
It does. There's a real tension there. Leo Tolstoy talked about this in his Calendar of Wisdom. He brings up Socrates, who believed virtue isn't an accident. It needs work and exercise. You have to deliberately cultivate it.
So that's the conflict act. Now, versus slow, steady character building.
Exactly. If it's only spontaneous, it might be shallow, right? Maybe even just about how you look. But if it's only about preparation, you miss all those moments Emerson warned about. So the big question is, how do we do both? How do we act now decisively, but also keep building that deeper capacity for kindness over time?
There's a hint, maybe, from Lucy Mallory in the sources. She says, you should live so that other people think well of you and you think well of yourself. That points inward, doesn't it?
It really does. That alignment she's talking about where your actions match your inner state, that seems key.
So genuine kindness isn't just an action, it flows from who you are.
Precisely. It flows naturally, almost instinctively when you've done that inner work, that work in exercise Socrates mentioned, or like Demosthenes advised, seeking support from your inner self and God.
Building a stable foundation.
Exactly. A robust foundation. So it's not about being self-absorbed. It's about building yourself up so you can genuinely serve others. When that moment for kindness comes, you're not just willing, you're able. And it comes from a place of real integrity, real compassion.
It's the difference between just reacting and having this ingrained virtuous instinct.
Well put, yeah.
And that difference between having the inner substance and just sort of putting on a show leads us to another fascinating point in the sources. This idea of mystery.
Ah, yes, the contrast between manufactured mystery and authentic mystery.
Right. Are we building real depth or just a convincing facade? Let's talk about the manufactured kind first, because the example is wild. Count Victor Lustig.
The con man sold the Eiffel Tower twice.
Incredible. And the sources describe his methods from Robert Greene's work. He'd pull up in a limo, Japanese chauffeur, very exotic, grabs attention.
Calculated.
Totally. Wore expensive clothes, but always with one odd detail, a strange metal or something to make people wonder.
Create intrigue.
Yeah. He'd get these fake telegrams delivered, glance at them, tear them up like they were state secrets he couldn't be bothered with.
All performance.
All of it. Sitting alone, reading some deep book, smiling mysteriously but staying aloof. It was all designed to pull people in, make them desperate to know him.
So they wouldn't notice him picking their pockets, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Robbed blind, as the source says.
Yeah.
His mystery was pure manipulation, a tool.
It's such a stark contrast, isn't it? Lustig's whole act was about illusion, deception. Compare that to Balthazar Gracian.
Okay, what does he say?
He says something like, mix a little mystery with everything, and the very mystery stirs up veneration. But he doesn't mean putting on an act like Lustig.
So what does he mean?
He's talking about the natural depth that comes from real virtue, real experience. It's not about what you do to seem mysterious. It's about who you are, deep down.
Ah, so it's earned, not performed.
Precisely. It's being grounded. So your kindness, your actions, they aren't for show. They come from your core character. And that connects to what Tolstoy said. Never try to justify your deeds.
Let them speak for themselves.
Right. If they come from that authentic place, they build real trust, real respect. That mystery is just the depth people sense in you. It makes your timely kindness land with so much more weight. A performance just makes people suspicious, eventually.
Okay, so bringing this back to everyday life, we have this need for timely action, this need for deep preparation and authenticity. How do we apply this, especially when kindness is hard?
Yeah, because it often is hard.
G.K. Chesterton nails it. Love means to love that which is unlovable. That quote.
No, absolutely not. In fact, the most necessary kindness is often the hardest, isn't it? Directed at people we find difficult, challenging, maybe people who we feel don't deserve it.
The grumpy neighbor, the difficult coworker.
Or even parts of ourselves we struggle with. It's easy to be kind to people we like, but your character, your virtue, it's really forged when you extend yourself to the unlovable.
And that's where Stephen Pressfield comes in, telling us to appreciate the struggle.
Exactly. That difficulty isn't something to avoid. It's the point. It's the resistance that builds the muscle. Those are the good days, he says, when all you have is the dream and the hard work.
So the struggle is the preparation.
In a very real way, yes. Every time you push through discomfort to offer patience or a smile or help, especially when it's tough, you're not just being kind then. You're building the inner reserves, the character that makes the next act of kindness more possible, more spontaneous, more authentic.
So it's like a feedback loop. The struggle to be kind now builds the character.
Which then makes future kindness flow more naturally, more instinctively, even in urgent moments.
That makes so much sense. It connects the immediate action with the long-term growth.
It really does.
Okay, so this whole journey, Emerson's urgency, the paradox of preparation, the struggle, it kind of leads us to this beautiful African proverb that sums it all up.
The one about going fast versus going far.
That's the one. To go fast, go alone. To go far, go together.
Yeah.
It feels like it perfectly captures this dynamic between working on yourself and acting within the community.
It really does. You need that personal development, that inner work we talked about. That's your foundation for contributing meaningfully.
Going fast, maybe. Building your own capacity.
Right. But that inner work, that capacity, it only really finds its purpose, its full expression when you engage with others. when you connect. It reminds me of Miyamoto Musashi,
The swordsman.
and philosopher. He said something like, when you extend a hand when you can, you lift yourself as you lift others.
So helping others helps you grow, and your growth helps you help others.
Exactly. Your inner strength fuels the collective progress, and being part of that collective encourages your own growth. You can't really go far, truly far, on this journey of kindness or life without that give and take.
So, when Emerson talks about the urgency of kindness, it's not just about not missing a chance to help someone in that moment.
No, it's bigger than that.
It's recognizing that my flourishing and our collective well-being they're tied together deeply. You can't have one without the other, not really.
Well said. Individual growth enables collective good, and collective good supports individual growth. It's that virtuous circle again.
Yeah.
And ultimately, maybe that urgency of kindness Emerson pointed out is really just wisdom in action.
How do you mean?
Well, think about it. It requires foresight preparing your character. It requires awareness, seeing the opportunity, that fleeting moment. It needs courage acting even when it's uncertain or hard. And faith, believing that your small act contributes to something bigger.
Foresight, awareness, courage, faith. That's a powerful combination.
It is. And in a world that often makes us feel like we have to choose between working on ourselves or helping others, kindness shows us a way to do both at the same time, seamlessly.
So this deep dive, pulling from all these different places, scripture, sports, philosophy, psychology.
Even con artists.
Right. It all seems to point to this. Building our character and building our community happen together through these timely acts of kindness. We can't just wait until we feel perfectly ready.
Because the moment will pass. Emerson's warning.
But we also can't just act superficially. The action needs that authentic depth that only comes from practice, from doing the work.
That consistent inner cultivation.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. That kindness you show today, maybe it's small, a quick word, holding a door, listening for an extra minute.
It matters in the moment, for sure.
Absolutely. But maybe also see it as shaping you, shaping the character that tomorrow's kindness will flow from. How does thinking about it that way maybe shift how you see those everyday chances to be kind? Recognizing each one is, it's a gift outwards, but also an investment inwards.